First at noon, a major project to widen Farrington Highway begins today in West Oahu. A groundbreaking ceremony just wrapped up. Jonathan Masaki joins us live with details on how this will improve safety in the area and traffic
It's a nice sunny day here
about.
in Eva, and I'm at the intersection of Farrington Highway and Kualaka'i Parkway. I'm going to take a little walk right now, going towards more of the Mauka section right here. You can kind of see that the prep work has begun for the widening project to actually begin. You see in the distance over there, and the excavator is on hand to help along with the work as the project begins. I want to show you some video from just about an hour ago. This was a groundbreaking ceremony that took place with various city officials and government officials here, as well as the Director of Transportation, Ed Sniffen. In fact, here's what he had to say about the upcoming project.
We're looking at about $140 million for an additional lane through this area. That's going to be a turning lane throughout, 2 6-foot bike lanes and 2 8-foot walking paths. From our perspective, it's a big investment for this community that's going to develop with a lot more housing and a lot more commercial opportunities. We wanted to make sure we got the infrastructure right in the beginning.
And as we bring you back live to this location right here, this project will span the course from some very important parts of town, from the Kapolei Golf Course all the way to the Fort Weaver Road. It represents a very crucial artery for people who do live here. In fact, one of the city officials described this as proactive thinking because it's going to affect the future generations. It cost about $138 million altogether, and hopefully it'll be completed within the next 2 years. Live in Eva, I'm Jonathan Masaki for Hawaii News Now. Now back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And happening now, a state land board meeting that could impact the future of live fire military training at the Pohakuloa Training Area on Hawaii Island. Pohakuloa is the largest live fire range and maneuver training area in the state and nearly 23,000 acres of state land. Now, the Army pays $1 a year to lease the land, and its 65-year lease is coming up. Today, the land board must decide to accept or reject the Army's final environmental impact statement to retain the land. The Army says Pohakuloa is critical for the military's readiness, but leaders in the Native Hawaiian community say they no longer want to see these lands desecrated, especially after the discovery of Hawaiian burial artifacts several years ago.
The Army fails to provide a complete inventory of archaeological sites within the state leased lands.
Hawaii's location at the crossroads of the Pacific makes it critical for national defense.
Now, if a decision is not made today, the EIS will automatically be approved. Mahealani Richardson is at the meeting and will bring us any big developments online and on later editions of Hawaii News Now. Federal authorities say they arrested 50 people for immigration violations this week on Oahu, Maui, and Hawaii Island. But agents also detained and questioned a group of teachers at a home in Kahului. We've learned most of them are from the Philippines and are legally employed here through a State Department visa exchange visitor program. Now, one of the detained teachers told us they were held for 45 terrifying minutes while agents searched for a convicted felon.
As time went on, they began to write names on a pad, and they were radioing the names to an agent in an unmarked van that I guess was identifying them on the opposite side of the street. In that moment, I began to notice that some of the people around me were shaking, and that one of the teacher's daughters who was in front was crying, and I was really concerned.
None of the teachers were arrested. She says the group rushed to school and made it to their classes on time. Hawaii's economic outlook has taken a turn for the worse. That's according to the latest forecast from UH economists. Now, tariff increases for U.S. imports, federal layoffs, and new immigration policies are blamed for the dismal outlook. The UHERO forecast predicts limited gross domestic product growth this year will lead to Hawaii's first recession since the pandemic.
So the start of the downturn, I think we are at the cusp of the downturn. But when we hit the trough, at this point, there's so much uncertainty we can't say.
Tourism is already down 3 to 6%, and UHERO predicts arrivals to decline even more, amounting to a loss of $1.6 billion in visitor spending by next year. Meanwhile, U.S. trade talks with China are set to get underway amid the ongoing trade war. China is just one of as many as 24 trade negotiations currently underway. Erica Brown has more from the White House.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent arrived in Geneva, Switzerland, ahead of high-stakes trade talks with Chinese officials.
Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer are going into the negotiations with an open mind, working closely with their colleagues.
Trade negotiations are set to begin Saturday, and President Trump hinted on social media Friday that he's open to lowering tariffs on Chinese imports from 145% to 80% if Treasury Secretary Bessent sees fit. But White House officials cautioned any change depends on the outcome of the talks.
He is not going to unilaterally bring down tariffs on China. We need to see concessions from them as well. And again, that's part of the reason that Secretary Bessent is going to talk to his Chinese counterparts this weekend.
In addition to trade talks with China, the White House says they're in negotiations with close to 24 other trade partners.
All of this happened because of President Trump's implementation of powerful tariffs to end the era of economic surrender and rebalance America's trading agreements.
The administration says several new deals are close to being completed.
There's so many deals that are close, and some are easier than others. I think the deal with India was especially complex, but it looks like it's getting close to the finish line.
The United Kingdom was the first to secure a deal, with the president announcing that agreement in the Oval Office Thursday. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Back here at home, a community fearing the stench of garbage tells the mayor to look somewhere else for Oahu's new landfill. As Ben Gutierrez reports, city leaders say they're doing their best with a tough decision.
Mayor Rick Blanchard's second year of town hall events have been a big draw once again on Oahu, with this large crowd being drawn in Kaneohe.
We really appreciate you being here.
A big concern here at Castle High School, the location of a new landfill for the city, as residents fear the windward side may once again be under consideration.
I am a Kailua girl. I was born and raised, and I know exactly that we've had many dumps in Kailua. I know the smell and the impact to that community.
The city picked Dole Agricultural Land in Wahiawa as the new site in January, but this year's legislature passed measures that would prohibit landfills on Grade A ag land and over aquifers on Oahu. Blanchardi told the gathering that it's forcing the city to look at other alternatives again.
Look, I'd like to find a solution. I'd like to find a solution that works for everybody. And we thought we had. I'm telling you, we put so much time and energy into it. That's why it's frustrating for me.
The city has previously considered several windward sites, including the Amarin Quarry, now owned by HC&D, which actually was a top pick from a landfill advisory committee back in 2012.
If that Amarin perfectly good hole becomes the next site, the shift of smell would come towards Kaneohe.
A few years ago in the last Charter Commission, I proposed to them that they do something about the landfill issue. No one wants a landfill in their neighborhood. Nobody, okay? That's just the way it is.
The administration says the quarry is not an option because it's within a half mile of neighborhoods, and that's already banned by state law.
I just want you to know for now, Amaran is not a viable site for the city and county, and it's not something that we've ever seriously looked at.
And some lawmakers also say turning the quarry into a landfill doesn't make economic sense.
The quarry is a major provider of cement which is needed for our construction industry.
Councilmember Kia Aina says she's working with Windward residents to block any landfills in the area, and that clock is ticking as the city has been ordered to close the current Waimanalo Gulch landfill by 2028.
We're left to now figure out what we're going to do at Waimanalo Gulch, and we're going to figure that out because we have to figure it out.
In Kaneohe, Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. Let's take a look at our hour-by-hour forecast outside. Beautiful out there right now from our tower cam. East-northeasterlies around 18 miles per hour. And we're going to be continuing to see, we're going to continue to see some beautiful weather out there over the next couple of hours. You can see we're going to be in the green throughout the rest of this evening, 77 degrees by midnight, and mostly sunny skies out there throughout the afternoon. A quick look at our Mother's Day forecast. Some clouds, chance for windward and Malco showers earlier in the morning this Sunday, 82 to 87 degrees, trades between 10 to 20 miles per hour, so a little bit breezy at times. Our first alert radar and satellite relatively quiet over the last hour or so, and again, over the next several afternoons, we're going to be seeing minimal rainfall. Most of the rainfall, if any, will be over windward areas throughout the overnight and early morning hours. I'll give you a further breakdown on this and my full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Drew. Pope Leo XIV, the first pontiff born and raised in the U.S., led his first Mass as the new leader of the Catholic Church this morning. Jay Gray has the latest from the Vatican.
Well, Rome still abuzz, as is much of the world that's been watching all of this. Look at the front page of the paper today in Rome. Il Papa Americano, the American Pope, being celebrated here at the Vatican and obviously around the world. This city, and again, many who've been watching this unfold, stunned that it is American who is now leading the nearly 2,000-year-old Catholic Church. Pope Leo, let's walk through his first 24 hours immediately after being elected and greeting the world from the balcony at St. Peter's. He asked the cardinals who elected him to extend their stay one more night at the Vatican because he wanted to spend some time with that group that he's grown so close to. He also left the Vatican on his first night as Pope, going back to his piazza, back to the neighborhood, the community where he lived, taking selfies, signing his new name, and just spending some time with his neighbors and those that he has been close to over the last 2 years. Not initially what you see from a pope the night he is elected, but I think it's a clear indication that he wants to follow in the footsteps of Francis and be accessible to his flock and really open and unite this church, something he talked about during his initial address. We will see him again this weekend. On Sunday, he will make his first Sunday blessing as Pope. We expect St. Peter's Square to be filled. We expect that he will address that group from the same balcony where he was introduced to the world. And his installation, which is just a formality, he is currently the Pope, but his official installation will come the following Sunday here at the Vatican. That is the latest from here in Rome. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Final jury selections are on hold in music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' racketeering and sex trafficking trial as opening statements near. We'll tell you why ahead on This Is Now. Plus, the Hawaii Food Bank needs your help feeding hungry families. Casey Lund has details on a new push for donations. Welcome back. Jury selection in Sean Diddy Combs' criminal trial has been delayed as opening statements approach. Chloe Mellis has the latest from the courthouse.
Hey there, we were expecting the jury to be selected today ahead of opening statements on Monday, but Combs' legal defense team, they requested that they wait and finalize that jury to the 12 jurors and the 6 alternates on Monday. Why? Because they don't want to give these prospective jurors more time to think about the fact that this is going to be a very long trial. It's an 8-week commitment, and it could be even longer, so they want to wait, whittle it down first thing Monday morning, where they're going to do something called striking, and then that's when they move into their opening statements. Now, the judge believes that they can do these strikes within just a half hour, and then opening statements would, in theory, begin at 9:30 a.m. sharp. But you could see the first government witness take the stand. It's an escort, and we know that this is supposed to be the first witness. But as NBC News has learned previously from a source familiar with the case, Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, she is expected to be one of the first individuals to take the stand over the course of the trial's first few days. And we'll keep you posted on all the latest developments. Back to you.
Well, the need has never been greater. Thousands of families across Hawaii are struggling to put food on the table, and there's a big push on multiple fronts to support the Hawaii Food Bank. Casey Lund has details on how you can help.
Happy Aloha Friday from the Hawaii Food Bank. 1 in 3 people in Hawaii, our neighbors, our friends, our family members, are food insecure, and that's why big efforts like what's happening and wrapping up today with the city and county and state employees, their food drive, as well as many others, are so important, especially as we get into the summer months. I want to introduce Amy Miller. She's president and CEO of the Hawaii Food Bank. Thank you for being with us on this Friday. Tell me a little bit about the city and county's effort. I know you were just on their One Oahu podcast sharing your guys' message of need and 500,000 meals they were trying to raise.
No, it's incredible. You know, I think we're in a time right now where you just said the numbers, right? 1 in 3 of our neighbors, our friends, our families are food insecure. We are now serving more than 170,000 people on average every month. So that's as many people as we are serving during the height of the pandemic. So the need is really up. So to see our state, our city and county employees really out there gathering food, raising funds, having bake sales, all to support their neighbors in need. 500,000 meals, that's amazing. We're so grateful.
Very good. And yeah, shout out to all those folks. You can drop off, I think today, they are really trying. You can, of course, donate whatever, but if you want to try and give them some bragging rights, try to get to their goal, make sure that you drop off at city and county fire departments, the state capitol, lieutenant governor's office. Online, there's a whole list of places you could drop off. The easy thing that's happening this Saturday I want to call attention to is the letter carriers. This is, I think, 33 years of this. How easy is it for folks to participate in this?
Well, this is super easy, and again, so much thanks to our friends at the National Association of Letter Carriers, but everyone should have gotten a little blue bag in your mailbox last weekend. So tomorrow you can just fill that up with food if you have it. It's also, you know, just as easy to go online. So we don't really want people to run out to the store and buy food and bring it back and ask your letter carrier to bring it into the food bank. So if you have something that is fantastic, it's so easy. And if you don't, you can just go to our website, hawaiifoodbank.org, make a donation. And we can really stretch that dollar. So we can help with every dollar donated to Hawaii Food Bank, we can provide more than 2 meals.
Very good. We had a viewer today on Sunrise say that he wanted to donate $1,000 to give.
Oh my gosh.
2,000 meals. So I know that was Will, and we want to mahalo him, but that just goes to show you, you know, even if you can't make it out to any of these food drives. By the way, don't forget about the Hawaii News Now Food Drive Day. We always we like our bragging rights too. We like to get involved with that. You know, that's the thing. There's so many organizations that stand behind the food bank because I think you don't realize until you kind of start to look at the numbers that you were interacting every single day with people that rely on you folks.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, just imagine what that must feel like, right? Not sure if you can put a meal on the table for your family. So we live in a place where people really do help each other out. We get to see that every day at Hawaii Food Bank. We are so lucky and so grateful for this incredible community we live in.
That's right. We're grateful for you and your staff always welcoming us in here to share that message. Amy Miller, President and CEO, thank you so much for being with us today. Yes, and again, if you missed any of the details on any of those efforts, the city and county, the Letter Carriers Association, their effort, as well as the Lions Club, I think has their big push going on this weekend as well. All the details online at hawaiinewsnow.com. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you so much, Case. Well, happening right now, Maui County residents get first dibs on tickets to see the LA Rams. An exclusive ticket pre-sale started this morning. The Rams are holding a mini camp at the War Memorial Stadium on Maui next month. They'll offer an on-field session for the public on June 18th. Tickets are free but limited and become available to the general public starting May 22nd. The Rams will host flag football clinics for youth and also plan to volunteer with the Habitat for Humanity during their visit. Hey, Drew.
Hey, Ashley, stick around. Your first alert forecast is coming up after the break. Mahalo to Kimo for that photo. Breezy trades and showers expected for Mother's Day weekend.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Well, happy Aloha Friday, everybody. Let's take a look at our weather headlines. Of course, we're tracking breezy trades and showers over there throughout the weekend. Most of the chance for showers will be in the overnight to early morning. We'll be drying out each afternoon. And just starting off with our island by island forecast, of course, we always start out over on the Garden Isle. Kauai, we're expecting scattered showers, mostly in the morning like I just mentioned, and partly sunny conditions. And then moving down the island chain, 86 in town, 85 in Kapolei, 80 in Kaneohe, a little bit breezy over in Kahuku and over on in Hawaii Kai. Maui County will be sunny and breezy out there. Northeasterlies between 10 to 20 miles per hour, sometimes gusting closer to 30 miles per hour. 86 in Kahului and 86 in Kihei. And then moving over to Hawaii Island, spotty showers, 86 in Kona and 86 in Captain Cook. A little bit foggy out there. Better chance for showers over on the Hilo side of the Big Island. Northeasterlies between 5 to 15 miles per hour. In the northern portions, windy. Some wind gusts climbing close to 30 to 35 miles per hour. A quick look at our surf and shoreline forecast. We are tracking a south swell that's going to move in later tonight and throughout Saturday morning. That could potentially trigger high surf advisories on south-facing shores. A little bit choppy out there on east-facing shores because of the trade winds. Steady and small on north and west-facing shores. So you can see that swell moving in our swell forecast. This is Saturday morning around 11 a.m. All of that energy moves out pretty quickly. It's all off to our northeast. We might see a little bit of a boost on north and west facing shores as we're going into Monday morning. And of course, like I mentioned, a little bit foggy out there over the Kona coast of Hawaii Island. The overall fog plume staying off to the west and southwest of Hawaii Island. Not really impacting Hilo too much or the Hamakua coast, but we could still see some haze across the rest of the island chain. But the overall air quality isn't expected to take a dip across the rest of the state. You can see in our first alert futurecast going forward, not much rainfall out there throughout this afternoon. But as we're going into the overnight, you see a little bit of sprinkles out there. Again, better chance for those windward showers, mostly focus over Malka locations. Relatively dry in leeward areas. If you do see any rain over leeward areas, it'll be relatively short-lived. And a lot of cloud cover off to the southwest of the state. In our first alert windcast going forward tomorrow afternoon, between 20 to 25 mile per hour sustained winds across the state. Pretty breezy out there. These trades are here to stay. You can see that in our first alert 7-day forecast. Mahalo to Val for sending in this background photo. Again, Sunday is Mother's Day. Don't forget Mom. Make sure to get something for her and tell her you love her. 88 for a high today. Very warm. 86 as we're going into the weekend.
Thank you, Drew. Still to come, flying is a family affair for this mother-son duo of Alaska Airlines pilots. Their story coming up in today's Good News Now.
right, time for some good news now. Imagine you're walking down the street and you see this wandering coffee cup. A groundhog in Pennsylvania apparently got the cup stuck on his head and was in desperate need of a helping hand. A Good Samaritan came to the animal's rescue. Now we all know what it means when a Pennsylvania groundhog sees its shadow, and our producer asked me to say this. What does it mean when the hog can only see grounds? As in coffee grounds.
Way to sell it, Drew.
Yeah. And here's a special story just in time for Mother's Day.
Yeah, you know how there's Take Your Child to Work Day? Well, a mother-son pilot team with Alaska Airlines recently flew passengers from Seattle to Kahului. Jeff Miles joined his mom, Captain Michelle Miles, as first officer last week. It's not the first time Michelle's actually flown with family, though. 29 years ago, she sat in the pilot's seat next to her dad. Jeff is a new hire at the airline, and Michelle, good for her, retiring later this year after 37 years as a captain. So it definitely runs in the family.
That's so cool. Mother's Day just around the corner, you know.
No one's gonna forget.
No,
because you keep reminding them.
Don't forget. I got an edible arrangement for my mom this morning.
What a good son. Thanks for watching.